With Sowing Mycospawn and Troll of Khazad-dum banned in Legacy, is it now time for Aether Vial gamers to rise up?
Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today I have been given an Aether Vial challenge. Now in case you aren't following my channel all that closely, I have been absolutely crapping on Aether Vial recently. I just don't think that Legacy is the place for Aether Vial anymore. I think it is slow in a world where people are trying to combo off quickly, and I think it's more easily removable than it has ever been. Nevertheless, Truth Cult has challenged me to 4-1 or 5-0 with an Aether Vial deck. I get 50 bucks if I can 4-1, I get 100 bucks if I 5-0, and I get some additional money if I do either of those without ever boarding out an Aether Vial. Now, we are very, very early on after the bannings at the time of this recording, but I did manage to find one 5-0 Aether Vial list. From MTGO user Kadrin, who I believe is Eli Going's Goblin expert. So I trust the deck list here. And I was particularly interested in playing this one because it features a handful of new cards from Aether Drift. It has Grease Wrench Goblin, which I had literally never seen before, giving you some ability to loot through cards you don't want while growing this creature. And Howlsquad Heavy, which can give your other goblins haste while creating some bonus goblins, and eventually potentially even being a Gaia's Cradle for goblins. Pretty sick. The deck looks a little different than it used to be. So there was a time period where trying to go Goblin Lackey into Muxus was just incredibly busted. We're not really there anymore. There was a time where 4x Ringleader was expected, and this would just be a major part of your endgame. We're not really there anymore either. I think the biggest statement here is 4x Pyrokinesis in the sideboard. That is a commitment to beating down on fair decks, as well as a set of Pyroblast / Red Elemental Blast. We've got 4 of those total. We are not on Lightline of the Void specifically for Oops All Spells, which is a potential problem deck in the upcoming format. Generally speaking, I like the rest of the stuff here. Note there are 4 Wastelands. They all just didn't cleanly fit on screen here. And another throwback card that you may not know, if you weren't back there in the old Goblin days of dominance, is Earwig Squad. When it enters, if its prowl cost was paid, search target opponent's library for 3 cards and exile them, and then that player shuffles. So you're tired of your opponent entombing and reanimating? Take out all the entomb targets. Your opponent has a Stoneforge Mystic package, clear out all of the pieces of equipment. Your opponent has 3 win conditions in their blue-white control deck. Goodbye. So with that being said, let's see how I do in this challenge. And folks, should you need some magic cards for the post-ban world, should you need any goblins, please consider checking out my sponsor, toamagic.com. Tales of Adventure is great. I literally have a stack of stuff on my desk to send to them whenever I get around to it, or maybe I'll save it for the next Magic Con, where I can give it to them in person at this wonderful purple banner. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order should you need any cards online, and you can expedite your shipping if you need to get it fast, even though the shipping is always free. Let's battle. Okay, I don't feel like I have good early game here. In Legacy, I do not want my first play to be on turn 3, even if we potentially have a Wasteland to disrupt what my opponent is doing. This is fine. Do I have a Surveil land in this deck? I do. So I could go turn 1 Mountain Vial, turn 2 Surveil, turn 3 maybe play Howlsquad Heavy into Broadside, start throwing tokens. That's okay. If I believe in this Aether Vial, I should probably keep all 3 creatures. But as soon as I throw back a creature, I can't use this to surveil away lands if I don't draw another land. So I will throw away 1 Broadside. But boy, I wish this was a mana dork that just let me cast all these things on turn 2. That's all I'm saying. It's all I'm saying. Force of Will pitching a Tamiyo. In the initial results that I was seeing in like the first 5-0 decklist dumps and such post-banning, there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of blue-black mid-range bullshit. That's not what I want to see here. Underground Sea. And we're chilling. I'm going to grab a Surveil land. Land is not what I want to see. Another Howlsquad Heavy. Okay. Well, let's attempt to get this going. I don't know that this is going to work, either because I get dazed or I eat some removal spell of some kind. Removal. It is an edict. Yep. We are Grixis over there. That asshole. Anyway, for those of you that watch all of my videos, you remember how I talked about really not wanting to play Goblin Rabblemaster in this world? This card's fucking everywhere in the post-ban stuff. This is very awkward. So what I'm going to do is actually go to my post-combat main phase. Play one of these in second main. Play out a Vial. And then hopefully use Broadside, throw Howlsquad Heavy at the Goyf. Hopefully, that's what I'm going to try to do. I don't want to play Broadside and let my opponent know that that's coming. I want that to be a surprise. All right, my opponent is still going to attack. The disaster scenario here is where they just have a second one, or where this grows bigger than 5. Ah, life's bad. Life's worse. We're dead. I do not believe that I recover from this. My opponent at any time can go on the defensive and really fuck up what I'm doing. Okay. I have artifact, land, creature. My opponent has instant, sorcery, land. I get rid of instant and sorcery by clearing their graveyard. I get rid of creature and artifact by clearing mine. I'm going to cast it. It is a goblin, so it will have haste here. Maybe hit my own graveyard. But it's like awkward because things like Murktide Regent could be over there. My opponent is very good at regrowing their own graveyard. I'm going to hit mine. Ooh. Ooh. So I make a goblin. If I attack with this, both of these can attack. I'm just going to send in my token. And we'll trade tokens. This is not great for me. Another land drop from my opponent. I'm just going to get crushed by this card. So that's 4. Getting back Baleful Strix. Disgusting. Milling over a Cling to Dust for additional value. Oh boy, I hate this. Oh, my opponent fetched on my turn, which increased my speed. Got a Culligan's Command? What are we doing? Petty Theft. I don't think that play makes sense. This Aether Vial sucks. Yeah, I'm dead. Absolutely, fully dead. So my red removal is very bad at killing those Goyfs. My Howlsquad Heavies are very bad against them. Munitions Expert has to work so hard to remove them. Thanks, I hate it. Do I need to Pyrokinesis to attempt to kill it while it's small? Hate that. My Vials are terrible in this matchup. I'm boarding them out. Rip that portion of the bounty. My opponent is a Culligan's Command, Brazen Borrower deck that potentially has more post-sideboard answers to artifacts. I don't think this is going to do good things for me. Whereas I think maybe trying to kill a Goyf while it is still 4 or less toughness is a big deal. Fire Blast and Red Elemental Blasts have text here as well, but they don't answer the Goyfs, which is the thing that is going to obliterate me. There's 2 lands. It is a Horde Master hand. Horde Master into Howlsquad Heavy is good. I will need to draw the additional land here. Get 2 draws to hit one of 21 lands. I don't think I like it. Ooh, Ancient Tomb hand with Surveil on turn 1. I like this better. So, how much Wasteland do I want? Let's go lots of Wasteland. I'm gonna play this and pass. Ooh, it is a Thoughtseize. I lose my piece of inevitability here. And I think I'm not going to fetch the Surveil land immediately, because I think I'm always just locked into wastelanding my my opponent here. I am going to pick up Basic Mountain. My opponent knows my exact hand, and I don't have all that many black cards. Some of my opponent's removal will be removal at 2 mana, like Shoulder's Edict, so it is possible that I can just wasteland my opponent again while doing something broken with Goblin Lackey. For example, if my opponent has Fatal Push that they want to use to answer Lackey, this can't be a basic land. Basic Mountain. Boo! Battlecry Goblin is an okay card. I am just going to play mana efficiently here. Get in for 2 immediately. Basic Island into Ponder. That means my Wasteland's not doing a lot. Having a second red land here would be okay as my draw, because then I could activate Battlecry Goblin. Oh, rough. Another Lightning Bolt. That's awkward. So if I play Battlecry Goblin out to hedge for the future, then I don't actually have a red card in hand for Pyrokinesis on a Goyf. What are we at? So sorcery, instant, land, creature already. Maybe that ship has sailed. We'll just pass the turn. This can be a third basic land, and is. Opponent is passing the turn. I did not eat Drawstep Culligan's command immediately. Orcish Bowmaster fucking sucks here. Am I winning this game if I play conservatively? Maybe not. Like, we are ticking towards inevitability. If it's some other removal spell other than Bowmaster, let's just make my opponent use it. Alright, so no blocks. I will maybe let my opponent get some extra value here. That is Snapcaster Bolt. Goodbye, Battlecry Goblin. I think we're fully just out of here. I'm gonna take 2. Fucking Kaito. Yeah! Pyrokinesis notably hits target creatures. It does not hit planeswalkers. Yeah, the distinction between this and Fury is huge right here. Ugh. So we'll send at Kaito, try to check Kaito. My opponent can select for some answer to Broadside. Cycling Lorien revealed. That is another basic. Well, shit. Kaito's gonna hit me for 3. Kaito Emblems. Just better playing around red removal. So this can hit a Kaito for 2? Okay. Attempt to send at Kaito. Okay, successfully send at Kaito. Attempt to finish off Kaito. Okay. That is consigned to memory. So that counters that trigger. So now I have to throw the Munitions Expert at Kaito. And I successfully take it off the board. But my opponent has 5 cards to my effective 0 cards. So we'll see what they select for here. Removal spell is great. Goyf is great. No follow-up play immediately. I can make a Pyrokinesis hardcastable at the cost of 4 life. Yep. I feel hopeless. Yeah, so opponent liked their cards from the Brainstorm and did not shuffle with the Ponder afterwards either. Not good. Not good. Deck. Deck, please. I'll use that to surveil land. Bowmaster is surprisingly threatening right now. I guess I am no longer using a surveil land. I think I need to protect my life total from these 2/2s. Let's do this the other way. So by doing this, I don't take 2 damage in combat. I take 2 damage from Ancient Tomb, but I don't set my opponent up to just ninjutsu in another Kaito. Which is problematic with 1 emblem already here. Fuck me! It could have been greedier. Yikes. So now I get attacked to 2. I can't have Ancient Tombs. I'll concede when you play another card. Yeah, that's Snapcaster Bolt. What a savage beating. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, which is, in my opinion, the best Magic the Gathering website for hosting your deck lists online. One of my favorite features is that you can create your own custom tags for when you're deck building. So let's say you're building a commander deck and you want to know, hey, how many copy effects do I have? You can just create a tag and sort everything, and there's fun little hotkeys so that you can do this more quickly. So really, please consider checking them out if you are looking to tinker with deck lists online. All right, this hand is a keep. It is unclear to me whether or not it is better to play Aether Vial or just play turn 1 Goblin Lackey. I am going to play turn 1 Aether Vial, but turn 1 Goblin Lackey, if it works, has amazing upside here. Underground Sea. Raise your hand if you wish that you had played turn 1 Goblin Lackey instead of turn 1 Aether Vial. It's me. Hi. And as predicted, I did lose the Goblin Lackey. Well, the good news is this Vial, in theory, is going to start being good next turn. I'm going to cast a castable card here, and then I have a 2/3/4 curve for Vial. This is acceptable. I wasn't going to Vial in 2 1-drops in all, or sorry, 2 2-drops in all likelihood anyway. It is a land from my opponent. Vial goes up. So, do I want to play around Days a second time? Or do I just want to attempt to play Magic the Gathering and get my speed going, accrue my goblins, make Munitions Expert better? I think that is what I would like to do. I guess I will get another one of these. Opponent fetches, surveils, Force of Wills. Oh, are you combo? That's real bad. We're just gonna die to fucking Doomsday. Yup. Anyway, Aether Vial, you're doing great, bud. You keep it up. All right, my opponent has built their Doomsday pile. I likely die on their next turn. Activate this, put in Munitions Expert. I'm not going to have it deal damage to anything, because this can't go to face. Where is this Vial going? Mathematically, probably 3 here, for Goblin Matron-based reasons. Battlecry Goblin. That means I am only dealing 1 damage this turn. That's a shame. Vial at 2 plus activate there means that I get in much more damage, and then Street Wraith happens. Or sorry, then I stop Street Wraith. But I only have 2 Battlecry Goblins, and I have 4 Moms to find Broadside, and the Broadsides themselves to draw. So my line was correct. My line just lost. Well, what are we doing? Disruptor Flutes are good. I will potentially play these cards. Potentially play this. I am not happy with either, but I don't have many tools to work with. My Munitions Experts are pretty bad. Those are probably the first thing that I'm going to get rid of. That's going to give me 2 Disruptor Flutes and 2 of these effects. My Aether Vials are incredibly slow, but Gem Palm Incinerator is also very bad. That probably goes first. I keep Vial, I don't Null Rod. I'll trim a Vial to round things out. Alright, I have an opening hand that has a Disruptor Flute. I can put Disruptor Flute on Doomsday and hopefully buy myself some time. I think I am just going to lead on that immediately, I guess on my opponent's upkeep. Play around a hypothetical Force of Negation. I don't want my opponent to be able to daze this. Alright, incoming Dark Ritual into Glyph. Delta. Fetch. Grafdigger's Cage. Does that do anything against me? As creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. Neither of which I'm doing, and I don't expect to cast spells from graveyard or libraries. Am I missing something? I don't think I am. I think I'm going to play a little conservatively here and just throw down a Goblin Lackey. Make myself better versus future counter spells. Not immediately just expose Broadside 2 days. This is mana inefficient up front, but will hopefully pay for itself very quickly. Like getting the Matron in for free so that Broadside can start lava axing my opponent. Sounds pretty cool. Petal? That's some red elemental blasts. I think I am okay with casting this even though I have double Reb. I still have Matron to put in, and Matron can find another Broadside. Alright, we're in play. But maybe we don't get to do our thing. It is Abrupt Decay on Broadside, not on Goblin Lackey, not on Disruptor Flute. So I'm going to hit my opponent for 1. I'm going to put Goblin Matron into play. My opponent just showed me that they do not want me to have a Broadside. I think that means that I'm going to pick up a Broadside, even though there are some other interesting things that I could potentially do. Opponent is Brainstorming, has a Lotus Petal, and a land. Opponent's doing something. Dark Ritual, Cycle Edge of Autumn, Concede. Okay, sure. I've got a hand that I'm going to keep here. That awkward Aether Vialness is here again, right? Where if Aether Vial resolves and it can dump in Lackey, Battlecry Goblin, that's fantastic. but this matchup is incredibly fast, and my opponent could Dark Ritual Doomsday or Cabal Ritual Doomsday incredibly quickly. So I'm incentivized to actually play out Goblin Lackey and play towards some of my highest upside lines. So it's awkward. If my opponent plays a non-basic land on turn 1, I will just wasteland them and then probably lean into the Vial. But wastelanding them when I don't have the second mana to activate Battlecry Goblin is definitely tough. That's a non-basic land. So I'm almost certainly just going to lead on Wasteland here and just do anything I can to slow down my opponent. I think my hand is a keep. I do not believe that I should just try to fish for like Ancient Tomb plus Doomsday. While that worked really well on the play, on the draw, Thoughtseize and Daze both are going to catch it, in addition to things like Force of Will that normally would anyway. Alright, that was bottom. Happy to see that. Oops, all Aether Vials. Goodbye, Underground Sea. Play versus draw is so huge here. Like, the ability to lead on a Vial or Lackey on turn 1 and follow it up with that Wasteland is so much different than my opponent just having a chance to play a land and then Dark Ritual Doomsday again or whatever here. So, Lackey or Vial? I think it's Lackey. The reason that I think it's Lackey is I can play Lackey this turn. I can play a Vial next turn while holding up a Red Elemental Blast for some random cantrip, and then go from there. And maybe at some point, Battlecry Goblin's ability becomes relevant versus a pass the turn Doomsday line. They topped the card. I do not like that. Brainstorm is great here. It's not like I can just pass the turn not making a proactive play, though. Like, I'm either playing Vial or Lackey 100% of the time. Are we going now? No, that is a Ponder. So that is probably a statement that my opponent needs to very badly shuffle off that Brainstorm. I'm apparently wrong. My opponent just drew a card with that Ponder. Hordemaster is cool. Is Goblin Lackey connecting? It is. I think I'm putting in Battlecry Goblin still. I am very tempted to just cast this. I know it's awkward to do that post-combat. Then I will have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Battlecry Goblin next turn. I am going to be good and hold up the Red Elemental Blast, but that might fully just be the wrong decision. I'm going to bite on that. We're not trying to save that for the perfect Thassa's Oracle, I didn't get Cavern of Souls moment. We're just trying to get our value off of this card. Wow, that is a Force of Will. Big statement there. There's a land and pass. Ancient Tomb. Play Hordemaster. Activate Battlecry Goblin. Get in there. Seems really good. That seems really good. So, red and 1. Or rather, Cavern of Souls, red and 1. Everyone gets haste. This is a lot of damage. This does activate Battlecry Goblin. My opponent is at 6. I will put in another Battlecry Goblin. This is certainly lethal next turn. My opponent needs to Doomsday and win from 5 life. It's not another Surveil land. They just didn't have anything else to do. Do we get there? All right. They're doing it. And my opponent has figured out that they don't actually have a way to win. GG's. Okay, I don't think I like this opening hand. Broadside is cool. Broadside Matron is a lot of damage. I don't have any acceleration, and Munitions Expert is not guaranteed to be really a playable card. In Goblin Lackey we trust. Gonna... Broadside Sling Gang kills very quickly with a Goblin Lackey Goldfish. I'm gonna put back Ringleader. I have a lot of gas in this hand already. Oh boy. Alright, Goblin Lackey is in play. Fuck. Well, I'm gonna play a more other Goblin, and awkwardly hope to draw a land that lets me cast Munitions Expert. I did not want to get wastelanded off of my only land, but by not fetching a Badlands, I now have some top decks that do not lead directly into casting Munitions Expert. That is a tapped land. Alright, Cavern of Souls is great. Lucked out. Alright, attempt to kill Dryad Arbor. Okay, you were just being cheeky. That's fine. Or do you have a crop rotation that you want to cast or something? No. So, send them. 17. 100% putting a goblin into play. Broadside represents the ability to kill most of my opponent's fair creatures that they play out. Let's see where this goes. And if my opponent has swords, does it go here or here? Okay, it's prismatic ending, so it has to hit Lackey. That is fine. But wait, there's more. That's a rough 1-2 punch. Ancient Tomb is great. I'm going to go ahead and attack for 3. Put my opponent to 13. I think I am going to get another Broadside with Goblin Matron. Let's do that. The Menace is good. The ability to fling at creatures is good. Turning Goblin Matron into Lava Axe is great. All right. I have a potential 2020 that I could need to worry about here. Green Sun or Reclaimer. Sure. So let's Broadside, play a Vial. Ooh. I can still send in with the Grease Wrench Goblin. My opponent is at 11. I have some reach here. Like, my opponent is effectively at 5 life. But Dark Depths beckons. Now these other creatures are not getting through for damage. Big deal. Okay. So I will have 4 goblins, assuming there's not yet another Swords to Plowshares. Let's operate under that assumption. Because if I successfully kill Knight of the Reliquary, then this can get in there this turn. My opponent is at 9, and I can burn for 7 of that. So I just need to accomplish 2 more damage. I think this is the point where my opponent just, on their own turn before I can Wasteland, makes their 2020 and says, "Can you kill me?" And my answer is yes. Yes, I can. So I play Sling Gang. I go to combat. I send in with everything. My opponent blocks the thing with 2 power. I choose you. I sacrifice this creature. We're just going to save targets and always yield to that. My opponent is at 8. My opponent is at 5. Sacrifice 1. Sacrifice 2. Sacrifice 3. Sacrifice 4. Sacrifice 5. Hey, we did the goblins thing. That was a turn 7. We accelerated it very quickly, but my opponent had a lot of interaction here. I don't have any Dead Gons, right? I don't. So I can Disruptor Flute, Thespian Stage, Depths stuff. I can Pyrokinesis, hopefully my opponent's smaller creatures, and maybe Knight of the Reliquaries. What's not good? Grease Wrench Goblin feels expendable here. Is Earwig Squad good, or is Earwig Squad a pipe dream? Hard to tell. Doing that and ripping all of the copies of Dark Depths out of my opponent's deck sounds very fun to me. But like at the point where I am connecting with creatures, am I already ahead enough that I don't need this? Might be. Vial bad? Or do I need Vial because a lot of times I am going to be using my mana on things that look like this? Maybe Vial's bad. I don't know, that was a turn 7 game. I'm gonna go down on this. These are similar. I'll trim some Vials. I'll keep a couple in the deck. If I draw them, I draw them. I don't like this specific 1-land Vial hand. I have too many things that I think want to be mana sinks. This I'll keep, and I will just throw away the Vial. Opponent is on 6 cards as well. Let's play out Lackey. If my opponent plays something to block it and get in the way, or fetches a Dryad Arbor that can get in the way, I have Munitions Expert just like last time. Surveil land. Saying no to a Flagstones. That is a path to exile. I will get a basic mountain. My opponent could have done that on my turn so that my land enters tapped. Let's go ahead and do the Goblin Matron thing here. Broadside, just generically. Menace, ability to fling at smaller creatures, ability to attack through bigger creatures. I have Munitions Expert, theoretically, as a removal for smaller creatures. There is Dark Depths. We have got to get this show on the road, or I might die. So we Broadside. Send in for 3 points of damage. Opponent goes to 16. Then I will throw a Goblin Matron at face. And we'll see if we're dead. Feels like we're dead. Yep, we're dead. So my opponent gets Thespian Stage, they make their 20/20, and I die. That's a shame. On my next turn, I attack for 4, and then I fling for 6. That's actually not lethal. When I'm on the play, do I want all 4 vials? Go down a Skirk, play a vial, and then play 3 Pyrokinesis. Single Wasteland hand, not gonna do it. We have some banger of cards here, but not the ability to work with them. Alright, fucking Goblin Lackey into Muxus with Pyrokinesis backing it up. Fuck yeah. I will say we are very, very good at drawing Goblin Lackey this game. I'm so upset right now. Wasteland, damn it. Maybe they won't activate. They saw the line. We will drop a Cavern on Goblin. We'll get Aether Vial going. Lush Portico. Come on, Wasteland. Not Wasteland. A land is acceptable here. It means that I can at least start doing something through Maze of Ith. So I will make a friend, send in, and we'll end up dealing 1 to my opponent. Their speed goes up, which is actually quite relevant because the mana here could lead into Muxus. There are some timelines where Muxus just gets pitched to Pyrokinesis, but max speed is 4. We have that in 2 turns. That is a crop rotation. It is very hard to know what my opponent is doing with this without knowing the rest of their hand. It's Flagstones. Echoing Deep can become a Lush Portico, getting rid of a protection spell. My opponent takes out Howlsquad Heavy. Come on, Wasteland. Broadside gives me something to do with Aether Vial. So this is going to be 3 damage after my opponent stops Lackey. Max speed, or not, we go up on speed. I don't think I'm going to throw the vial immediately, because I can still use it to stop a small creature like that. I will just keep ticking vial up here. Ancient Tomb. Muxus getting more hard castable. It is a Swords. Hate that. So I can Pyrokinesis this Reclaimer out of play and make it so that my opponent can't activate it and find 1/2 of their combo. Or I can try to Luck Sack into a land next turn, cast Muxus, and hope for something big. Going Hellbent against my opponent's 4 cards with a Goblin Lackey with nothing good to put in, I don't think feels good. I think I'm going to pass the turn here. I'm unhappy about it, but I think that's what I'm doing. I think opponent is just passing their turn with Elvish Reclaimer available. Just gonna do this, see if they respond to it. I think I leave this at 3. I have a lot of hits at 3. All right, Cavern on Goblin. Big swings with Muxus here. Multiple Howlsquad Heavies. Okay. Opponent removes a Muxus here rather than just mazing it. That means they're not activating Reclaimer this turn. I am at speed 3. I will reach max speed this turn. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 goblins. I will have 5 in a second. I can hold back both copies of Howlsquad Heavy to hard cast a Pyrokinesis on Elvish Reclaimer. I'm fine with Goblin Lackey dying instead of a Goblin Token. That doesn't really matter to me. Yeah, that doesn't really matter to me. Yep, that's expected. 1 gets mazed. My opponent takes 2. I will go to max speed. Then there is 5, 10 mana Pyrokinesis on the Elvish Reclaimer, which could be stopped. It is a crop rotation. All right, and my opponent is going to save it. Now I am living off the top. I am starting to go wide of my opponent's defenses, but if my opponent has one of the pieces already, Elvish Reclaimer is threatening very, very bad things. There is a Knight. The Reclaimer is not activating immediately, but my Goblin tokens aren't going to be picking up ground here, and my Howlsquad Heavies can't attack into Knight. This is where I want to draw something like a Matron. Like, get a Matron, Violet in, get a Ringleader or a Broadside or something, go wild. Oh my god. Trigger. Is my opponent just dead to Sling Gang? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be 9 direct drain, 11 direct drain, 3 plus 4. Yeah, we can do a little better than that then. Wait, hold on. Did I just count max speed as a land? I did. Oh, but I have Howlsquad Heavy for a gajillion D mana. Then let's just get another Matron. So I will go 1, 2, 3. Cast a Matron. Yes. Get a Matron. Tap for a gajillion. Play a Matron. Play a Matron. Play a Matron. Yes. Get a Sling Gang. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Howlsquad Heavy enabled some nonsense there. GG's. My opponent says that they are looking forward to this week's Eternal Glory episode. In case you don't know, I have a podcast. And if you want to hear more about ban talk and unban talk than my video from a couple days ago, check that out. We usually release on Thursdays or Fridays, depending on when exactly the editing gets done. So we have the highly cursed Ancient Tomb double Aether Vial opener. And my opponent is probably playing combo. Let's assume Sneak and Show until I see something that makes me think otherwise. I probably just want to cast this card. Okay, yeah. So this is going to be a Cunning Wish for any number of kill conditions, ranging from Release the Ants to Firemind's Foresight for a billion D cards. My Munitions Expert is not very good. I need something reasonable off the top here. I'm going to continue to tick up both of these. Okay. Go to combat. Send in with Goblin Lackey. Trigger. Muxus. In response. Fetch. Surveil. That is a goblin. I think I would rather hit better goblins than that. Let's just put that into graveyard. Holy fuck. Okay. So now, because of this Horde Master, I can probably get pretty silly. This just dies, right? Yeah. So let's get rid of a Goblin token. Drain you. That is another Howlsquad Heavy. Fuck yeah. That gives the first Howlsquad Heavy haste. We're cooking. We are cooking. Okay. So activate. Oh, I'm not at max speed. No. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so I can't kill my opponent immediately. They are very dead on my next turn. Okay. So my opponent is going to do some cantripping. They need to go off on their turn. There's a cycle. Every mana is very precious for my opponent. Oh, fuck yeah. Goblins. We need these blasts. We need these disruptor flutes on show and tell. The rest of these cards are not particularly potent. If we see the One Ring, we can start thinking about Null Rod. Munitions Expert can go. Gem Palm Incinerator can go. Earwig Squad is actively good. Big, scary goblins that I can put in off of show and tell do stuff as well. Cutting 1 vial would be just how I round out sideboarding. I still have 28 creatures. Vial is just very slow when my opponent can show and tell so quickly. Turn 1, Lackey. Turn 2, Muxus. Keep Reno. We dodge counter spells with it, and I can broadside as well. Wasteland is a fine draw. Opponent's just cantripping, using their mana efficiently. I am hoping that they are just going to, Lorien Revealed, cycle, pick up another island, rather than I'm pretty much ready to go off next turn. Let's just cast this, see if my hand gets better. Okay, cool. I believe that I am fine casting an uncounterable broadside here. Send it. Oh, we're getting in there. Oh, don't counter my triggered ability. Trick Bind. I have not seen a Trick Bind in a hot minute. Okay. Your turn, opponent. This is where the show and tell stuff can start happening. It's not yet, which is great. Do I have anything I want to do pre-combat? I don't think I have anything I have to do. I'm not expecting a weird flash creature to come in and block Goblin Lackey or anything. Alright, we connect. Put in Muxus. Ooh, buddy! Sling Gang, please. The Goblin Matron... I don't really know what it gets. You can pick up a Broadside. We drop our land. We play Sling Gang. Activate Broadside. Target your face. Throw Muxus for 8. My opponent is going to get bled out by Sling Gang. I will do that on their turn. We have gotten the GGs from the opponent. Oh, my opponent says do the thing. I will absolutely do the thing. But I'll do the thing on your turn. Alright, my opponent has tapped out. I will now do the thing. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Absolutely brutal. So we have rebounded from a rough start. We are now 3-1. Let's see if I can clutch that $50 bounty in the final round. Okay, while Boggart Trawler is great in this deck, in this specific hand, we don't have red mana to do our thing. Second hand is a Vial hand. This is a glacially slow hand. I think I'm going to keep it. I don't have the mana to activate this, so this is just a 2-1. I think I'm going to get rid of that and hope for the best here. I expect that I've lost this one before we start. Opponent is on Tamiyo nonsense. Second land is okay here. I don't have a good way to remove this Tamiyo. Because I bottomed the 1-mana goblin that I forgot the name of, I'm not actively working towards Munitions Expert. And even if I drew Munitions Expert, it doesn't answer the 0-3 Tamiyo body specifically. At least not right away. The longer this game drags on, the better my Vial is, but the longer this game drags on, the more value my opponent extracts from clues. Cavern, eh? I don't mind that at all. And my opponent will presumably crack a clue at the end of turn or surveil. Both are great lines. Opponent getting aggressive with playing out a Bowmaster here. I don't know the context of their hand. I think this makes sense if they have a Kaito. Otherwise, I might want to hold this because like holding that up is not telegraphed because you have these clue tokens that you're going to end up cracking. All right, they are getting aggressive and then cantripping. Now my opponent can crack a clue to transform Tamiyo, which I imagine is what's happening here. Yes. Tamiyo is pretty specifically good against Howlsquad Heavy, which produces 1/1s. Let's plan my next turn. Gem Palm Incinerator. This hits target creature. I can use that to get these out of the way. That feels mid. Boardmaster's okay. Boardmaster's okay. So let's uncounterable Howlsquad Heavy. Let's do the Vial thing. Put in the Horde Master. It does have haste. It attacking doesn't actually matter, though, because of the Tamiyo ability. Is working on max speed better than tapping Tamiyo for 1? Unclear. I think attacking Tamiyo for 1 is better. I would like this to die to Broadside flinging a 3-cost Matron. Just something I think is happening next turn. This is a good Vial game. Like, this is a slower game where my opponent is trying to get value, and I just have this pile of value-oriented Goblin Matrons that can do some serious work. Oh, that's so incredibly good. That's so incredibly good. That means that I now can't Matron into Broadside next turn. Okay. That can take a Matron. I don't know, or Howlsquad Heavy. A Matron. Murky? What was that? Petty Theft? Petty Theft. Annoying. So much for Aether Vial. Okay. We just multiple Howlsquad Heavy. Go wide of what my opponent is doing. Cavern on Goblin again. I'm going to make 2 Goblins. Do I just want to commit to killing Tamiyo through double blocks? So my opponent blocks both of these. Tamiyo takes 3. That doesn't actually kill Tamiyo. But let's send in at Tamiyo with this stuff. Okay, opponent's just going to let Tamiyo eat it and keep the Bowmaster bodies around. That is reasonable. What is the clause on this? Until the end of your next turn. So if my opponent kills stuff on their turn, I can still play bonus cards. Wasteland again. Great card. But opponent's definitely behind on board, and I'm making more duders. We don't want to see Goyf. Fatal Push. Horde Master trigger. There's a Goblin Lackey, which will have haste. Murktide. That's Murktide. Not bad. Oh, wow. We're getting some chip damage. Do I ignore my free value Goblin Lackey to just play Goblin Matron? Probably. I'll make 2 friends. I will send in with all the Goblin tokens. I don't think I'm going to attack with the Howlsquad Heavies. I don't want one of those to die to Murktide Regent. This is fine and expected. Speed goes to 2. Gonna fetch. Badlands is fine here. We'll pick up a Matron. Gem Palm Incinerator time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 more on my turn. 7, 8. Oh, little buddy. Little buddy, why? Munitions Expert does something similar, but can be countered. Horde Master, also certainly scary. I think I'm into Munitions Expert. Then we just let this go. That is a land drop. That means Force of Will is not currently live to answer Munitions Expert. My opponent could Surveil, find Thoughtseize, crack Clue, Thoughtseize, take Munitions Expert. Wasteland, crack Clue. Oh, Murktide's getting in there. My opponent thinks it's dying either way. That's reasonable. Earwig Squad. Let's go to combat. I make 2 friends. How much total damage is this? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. Opponent goes to 2. I've thought of a very weird timeline, and I hope I'm not living in it. So the timeline is, because I attack with everything, my opponent has Force of Will blue card remaining, and then draws Orcish Bowmasters as their draw for turn. That is a world where I die for not holding back with 1 body. Thought of it after I attacked. Either the Force of Will or the blue card was a random card off of Clue. 1, and they don't have it. Fantastic. So we've got some fair removal that I can think about here. I don't think I like Grease Wrench Goblin versus my opponent's random blockers, the Bowmasters and such. Tamios. Those can go. I am always playing the 4 blasts. I don't think I need Earwig Squad. My opponent doesn't have any hyper-specific card that I need to answer no matter what. Although Goyfs are the closest thing to that. Then I want some amount of this stuff for Tameo and Bowmasters and maybe smaller Goyfs, maybe. I could go Skirk Prospector out versus Bowmasters. Most of the rest of my cards are fine. Do I not Pyrokinesis? Not playing Pyrokinesis feels wrong. Vial was fine in that slow, grindy Tameo game. I don't think I want to cut it here. What about Gem Palm Incinerator versus Pyrokinesis? Gem Palm Incinerator is recruitable, but won't always be good. I don't know here. This is one of those spots where this is the difference between someone who plays a deck all the time and someone who just picks it up for a league here and there. This hand is medium. I don't think I'm mulliganing it, but I think the hand is medium. I think there's a lot of times where my opponent just goes land Tameo, and then they get very far ahead before I start establishing anything that's actually all that scary. And like after a land Tameo start, it's kind of awkward to wasteland my opponent because they are going to accrue clues that will dig them out of it later. Am I fine resetting the game where my opponent has a clue? I think so. Because the times where they don't have the follow-up land, or more specifically, the follow-up second land, are pretty good for me. It's no pre-combat land. Oh shit, it's no land at all. And that's an amazing draw. I might not be doing it immediately. I might just be playing Battlecry Goblin into Broadside and then plan on throwing Battlecry Goblin to kill Tameo, rather than playing Broadside next turn. Let's commit to that line by effectively playing a Surveil land this turn. Where are your clues now? Nice. Wasteland Gambit paid off. I don't need another one. I don't need another one. That's neat. Yeah, that's neat. Yeah, I might just be giving a Goblin Lackey haste next turn and dropping in Broadside or Goblin Ringleader without actually casting it, instead of doing the Battlecry Goblin thing that I was expecting to be doing. Alright, Tameo is still coming in for clues. I'm not really sure if that's correct anymore. Like, you are in a position where you can't play any cards. Soaking up 2 damage might be better. It's a little awkward if I just activate Battlecry Goblin and then you don't get to block this, but like, the aforementioned Goblin Lackey line is kind of a big deal, right? I have 4 mana, 1 for Lackey, 1 for Vial, 2 for Activate this. My opponent can keep doing Tamiyo stuff in the short term. It's not actually doing anything. Nice. Aether Vial, doing work, taking 2 cards at random from my opponent's hand who is discarding. Uncounterable Goblin Lackey. Activate Battlecry Goblin. Sends in for 5, which does not trigger Battlecry Goblin. But that's not the card that we care about here. The card we care about is Goblin Ringleader. And then next turn I will clean up with Broadside. Okay, that's enough for my opponent. And we fucking rally. Let's go. 4-1. I get my $50 bounty from Truth Cult. GG's. Aether Vial haters said it couldn't be done, but here we are. All right. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Honestly, this deck list is pretty good. I don't think I personally like Grease Wrench Goblin. I can see why it is in the deck list. If you are trying to get this critical mass of early goblins so that Munitions Expert can do its thing, and so that things like Gem Palm Incinerator can actually remove stuff and be removal, I understand the need to have these cards. So while I would consider cutting this, I don't know that I would pull the trigger to cut it immediately after just seeing 1 league with the card. Generally speaking, I think Aether Vial underperformed in this league, except in the games where it was batshit insane and, it made 9 mana and allowed me to Vial in a Matron, followed by Vialing in a Broadside or something like that. Generally speaking, my Vials were answered. Prismatic Endings, Brazen Borrowers, Abrupt Decays. Generally speaking, a lot of the scariest stuff of the game has happened by the time a Vial goes up to 3 and you feel like you get that really good value. That said, sometimes you are going to settle into these long, slow, blue, grindy attrition, Tamiyo type matchups, and then Vial will shine there. Pyrokinesis not being Fury came up once. Maybe every single one of those doesn't have to be Pyrokinesis. Fury at 5 mana and red that is not Goblin is maybe not super hard castable in this deck, but the ability to hit Tamiyo in particular when flipped was something that potentially mattered. Generally speaking, I'm going to thumbs up this deck, but I do think if black Goyfs are going to be everywhere, the red removal of this deck and the Goblin tokens that are forced to attack are a little bit awkward in terms of positioning. We dodged. We dodged the Goyfs when we were playing against them most of the time. But this was a lot of fun. I did enjoy this. Good job, Goblins. Eli, great deck building. Folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. You need your Howlsquad Heavies or whatever. You know where to go. Promo code ThrabenU. This post-ban legacy content is pretty fun. And we're not pairing against Oops, so we've got that going for us. Anyway, have a great rest of the day. See ya.